Police say Anthony Torsell's blood alcohol level was more than 3 times the legal limit when he reportedly struck and killed a pedestrian. Now, police are looking into how the minor got alcohol, but they're also looking into the suspect's web postings because we're told there may be potential evidence that shows the suspect's attitude and prior behavior when it comes to drinking.
All the details on exactly what happened that morning in late October aren't clear, but what is clear is that the brothers of this fraternity want to help a fallen brother any way they can.
Torsell allegedly hit a second pedestrian. That man, we're told, is still listed in critical condition at a Danville hospital. Meanwhile, the suspect is facing homicide by vehicle charges as well as aggravated assault charges, both of which are felonies.
I think it's very prevalent. Our numbers of arrests show that. For instance, in 2003, I believe was our peak year, we had about 107 DUIs. State College Police had about 400, close to 500 DUIs. Last year we had, I think, around 40 DUIs or so for us. Not sure how many State College Police had. The month of October alone this year, we had 12. So yeah, I think it's pretty prevalent. And again, we're just showing the number of people actually arrested and actually people we stopped. So the number of people that we don't stop, we think is even, obviously, probably even 2 or 3 times higher than that.
I don't care how many times you've gotten behind the wheel with a couple of drinks in you and nothing has happened. I mean, just like that, things can happen. You should think beforehand. I mean, that not only are you endangering your own life in the car, you're endangering other people's lives and the people that really, so many people are affected by DUIs. I mean, it's ridiculous.
It's shocking to see such flagrant disregard and lack of consideration for the repercussions of one's actions or choosing to drive drunk. And the reality is that you can kill someone.
We cite hundreds of people every year for underage drinking. I mean, we have a zero tolerance towards underage drinking. So anyone that's stopped, damaging a sign, being rude and vulgar, urinating in public, whatever some of those other nuisances are that people do when they drink in high risk volumes. All the people we stop, generally speaking, most of those are underage.
Rick and I had known each other since middle school. We were really good friends because he definitely brought together me and my friends, and he was probably the leader of our group.
I really took a liking to him and his personality, and right away we meshed, and just the whole brotherhood really meshed. And I'd say midway through that semester did I really get to know Aaron really well and really got close to him.
And we start to cross. I looked all 4 ways and there's a car over a block and a half away. The lights are kind of dim. I didn't really register that at that point, but I noticed that they were slightly dim. I saw the yellows. They were on, but the main lights seemed like they were dim. And this was quite some distance away, and so we didn't have the walk signal, but we began crossing. And at the halfway point, I turned right again, and the car's just across the street. So it must have been flying. And as I yell, "Watch out!" And before I even can complete the sentence, I hear the impact. And initially, I thought, "Oh my God, this kid just got hit. This kid that we just met." I didn't think Rick was hit because I thought he was like right here. But as I turn my head, I see he's not there. So they both must have been hit. And I was just kind of in a state of shock. I didn't even see Aaron's body. It was so far away. I didn't even know where it went. I saw Rick 20 feet away. I saw Aaron's shoes were about 40 feet away in front of the fire station.
It was just a shock. At first it was like I didn't even believe this could happen. I saw him 2 nights ago. I don't think I saw him that Friday night, but I definitely saw him 2 nights ago and the days before that. So I mean, just the fact that that could happen to someone as close to a fraternity brother and a friend, And I mean, 1 second he's walking, having a good time, he was a great basketball player, and then the next second he's fighting for his life in the hospital. It was definitely a reality check, and just, it was, I'd say that was 3 hours from finding out about it, getting to the hospital, and really just seeing his parents and everyone there for him. It was just surreal. It was surreal.
I obviously thought that this person who had hit him was not from town, because anyone who has half a brain knows, you know, you don't drive like that in downtown State College regardless of how drunk you are or whatever, you know. But obviously reasoning wasn't a factor in his thought process, because we found out later he was a student here. In fact, I believe he might have even had a DUI before, because he's apparently, one of my friends showed me this later, his Facebook groups where I got a DUI because Mel Gibson did, and equally just arrogant and utter disregard for the rules of the road.
You know, I mean, you already took away one kid's life, damaged the others, let alone how many families he's damaged. And if he has other priors, I know his personality is a very, I mean, wild, and I don't think he's really shown any remorse thus far.
I don't understand why people think that they are better than the law. I mean, apparently this kid was hot shit back in high school, so I don't know. I've heard a lot of things. I have no ill will to him specifically, because, you know, that's not going to bring Rick back. That's not going to do anything. Obviously, I think he needs to be persecuted to the full extent of the law and get what he deserves, which, in my opinion, would be life in jail. But
you should know that not to get behind the wheel when you are too drunk. And I mean, his friends told him not to get behind the wheel, and he didn't listen. And I think because of that, I mean, all the people that he's affected thus far, he should without a doubt be prosecuted to the full extent of the law and be behind bars for at least 5 years.
But, I mean, I can't think of a less deserving person for this kind of fate to happen to. I mean, you know, you graduate in 33 months, you own your own house, car, you know, a career you've already started. He was planning on taking the LSATs. He wanted to possibly get a graduate degree in law. And, you know, he was a really hard-working kid, really ambitious, and had so many plans for the future. And I mean, he talked so much about the future that, you know, and he was probably the most focused of any of us, of our little group that we had at home, which was a lot of intelligent kids, but never really took advantage of it as much as we should have. And, but Rick definitely made the best of his abilities. He was always looking to improve himself. You know, it's evident, you know, at the moment that he died, you know, his mom got his LSAT registration shortly after. But, you know, he was an arm's length away from me. You know, all I can do is appreciate the fact that I still have life, and, you know, it would be a dishonor to his memory not to work as hard as possible to try and make the best of what I have. And, you know, it shocks, and it really still shocks me that people choose to get in their cars after drinking, or don't have their friends, you know, tell them not to do this sort of thing, or don't make these appropriate decisions. But look at the consequences. We have one kid who's dead and one kid who's in the hospital with traumatic brain injury. Who knows if he'll ever be the same, or, you know, if he'll survive through it at all. Hopefully he will.